Welcome to the Escaping Normal podcast, where I'm diving into the diaries of startup entrepreneurs living in Dubai. Now, I've got Gabriel in the studio with me this morning. He is the founder of Spreed, AI powered platform, which helps create viral content. Now, we're going to dive into many different things today, but in particular, focus around personal branding and the importance it is for an entrepreneur. So, if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to start your personal brand, but you don't know where to begin, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, man.
So, before we dive into things, tell me, what do we need to know about Gabriel, and why should everyone at home be listening to you?
Wow, good question. I mean, for people to have context, I am Gabriel Vasquez. I was born in Brazil. I'm 22 and I moved to Dubai 4 years ago, almost. So I moved here when I was 19. It's been 3 years and a half. That's why I didn't cross the 4-year mark yet. But what people need to know for this conversation to make sense, um, I believe is I am on my fifth business. I did computer science in the back. I didn't. I'm actually finalizing this thing, even though I'm not the tech guy. I am. I have some knowledge, which I think is really good. And besides, like the basic like job, what I do, and everything, I love fitness. I love food. I love planes. I love sports. Love people. Love to talk to people. Love my family. So I think this is like pretty much, like some bullet points that people will be able to see. Like, okay, now I think I know a little bit more um, about this guy.
Well, this podcast, I'm diving into the diaries of entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
startup entrepreneurs living in Dubai. Now, you just mentioned there that you've been involved in 5 businesses.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
You know, right now, Spreed is the fifth one that I'm into. And before that, every business that I had was because I needed to, not because I wanted, I believe. I think everyone, like, especially in the beginning of their life, they have this normal trajectory that things are written for them, right? You finish this, and then you go to school, and then you go to high school, and then you go to university, and then you do that. And for me, it was not different in the beginning. So the moment that I joined university, I was lucky enough for COVID to happen. Because before, I was just like following things, one, two, three, four. But when COVID happened was the moment that I could stop, and everyone could stop, and really think, okay, what do I want to do with this spare time? So when COVID hit, I was like, okay, I was always on this kind of scheme, very fast paced. Now 8 months that I would have without any class from university, what do I do? So in that moment, I was like, okay, let me take one of my dreams back, which is to study abroad. And I was like, okay, but I need money to apply for that. And then I talked with my parents, and like for us, never we missed anything. Like we always had like a condition that we were able to do things that we wanted, but to go over and spend in dollars to study abroad was a pain. My parents like, okay, we can help you, but what if you get in and then you need to pay $80,000 per year to study? What are you gonna do? We're not gonna be able to do that. And I was like, okay, even if I start now, it's not gonna make sense in the long term. So then I created my first business, which was just like a jersey store. So we would like kind of not drop shipping, but we're kind of like sourcing from China those jerseys, football jerseys. And me and my friend, he loved football. And I was basically like with the logistics of everything. And that was the first business that I had where I was able to cash in to then invest on my studies. And then, long story short, I passed by web design agencies here in Dubai. I had like a drink business at some point when I was still in Brazil. But if you see all the business that I've been through, they were because of a need of myself. At that point, maybe to actually have some cash to do some other thing. So kind of to leverage that to then advance. So that was kind of the reason that I started these 5 things. And now like Spread is everything now. So
How old did you say you are?
22.
22.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to give you that kind of look. 22 years old, and you've gone through all of that. Where did that mindset come from? How at 19, when you first started, did you decide that entrepreneurship and starting businesses is what you wanted to do?
I think it's not that I choose entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurship chose me, if I would say, kind of. And that's a very like kind of like, oh, I was no, it's just like the need. I was like, if I was doing engineering, yeah. So I was very hard. Like I see for me, and a lot of people can relate to this, they spend a lot of their time studying for something that they don't even know what they're going to do in 5 to 10 years. So me and my friends, we're spending like hours to become engineers. But in Brazil, majority of engineers, they become Uber drivers. That's just like the truth. You spend like years, and the job market is so saturated, you cannot do anything with the degree. So we spend 5 years of our time, 5 years of your life, which roughly, okay, like I don't know, 5% or whatever, 7% of your life. And to then what? To just go to the normal and then like one, two, three, four. And I I think that was the reason that like sparked me to go to this path where now is normal, right? Before it was not normal. Before the normal was to just do A, B, C, D on the university. But then as soon as I saw that thing, that opportunity, I was like, okay, now's the moment to go. And again, it's not because I really wanted entrepreneurship. It's because I was like, no, I don't want to just be on this normal path. And if I want to take risks, let me take at this age, not when I am 40, 50, with family, children, you know.
So
So
you said because you saw you wanted to solve a problem,
yeah,
right? And I think that's the very essence of entrepreneurship. You've got to find a problem to solve,
yeah,
and then you provide the solution, and then that's the product or the service. Now, you with Spreed, okay, what what is that problem that led you to want to start Spreed?
when you look at like just people in general, right, and
And
businesses,
and
yeah.
sorry, let me actually say, what is Spreed? First of all, what is Spreed, and where did it, and what's the problem
Yeah.
that you wanted to solve?
So, I mean, Spreed in a nutshell is basically we are an AI platform that allow people, brands, and companies to go viral on social media. So, if you see, a lot of people struggle with actually taking their word and put it out to the rest of the world, their message, and put it out to the rest of the world. And there are some ways to do it right now, right? Some people, you can go for paid ads, you can pay social media to show you, but then you are trying to connect with people in a salesy way. So imagine if I want to sell you something without even knowing who you are. That's how performance marketing is, right? In a nutshell, especially when you don't know someone. When you already know, okay, then you can try to just pitch in something. But if you don't know and you're trying to know the person, it's very hard. Now, that's one thing. The second thing is there are so many different ways to create content. And especially for people who want to monetize and grow their audience and grow their business, um, they're not full-time content creators, right? They have a lot of other shit on the side, or I mean, the main thing to take care. So that's where like Spirit emerged as well as well with the really the mission to take someone's message and spread to the world. Because right now we are in a moment in time that everyone has a TV on their pockets, right? To create something meaningful and to the masses, you don't need to own a TV channel, you don't need to own the media, no, you don't need to pay a lot. You just need to be good. You just need to find that recipe and implement, and you can go to the masses in a good way. Because like this world has billions of people. So kind of circling back, Spirit is this AI platform that strategizes, creates videos, edits everything so that we can go viral on social media. And the main goal of people using that is really to grow their authority, their engagement, their reach on social media, because then they can spread their word. And to be honest, it's something tricky because if someone comes to work with us, we work sometimes with politicians and some people that don't have the best of the intentions. So we also need to be very careful with to who we're giving this power of going to the masses, right? So we're not actually promoting something that's not beneficial to our mission, our core values, and what our team believes. So
So how did the whole idea come about? Now, I'm putting myself in the perspective of I'm an entrepreneur, startup entrepreneur. I've kind of got this idea, you know, kind of like what you probably had with Spreed. How did you get things going, and how did you
yeah,
start?
I think a lot of entrepreneurs they struggle so much in finding the perfect business idea, but I don't think you find until you're actually on the trenches doing some cool shit. Like no one wakes up, okay, let me create Tesla, and then you create this huge thing right now. Actually, like Elon Musk is not the founder of Tesla. I don't know if you know this. He was the first investor. So who founded Tesla was two other guys who had this idea of creating electric cars. but they didn't have the money. So when they went for a first round of investment, they found Elon Musk, and Elon Musk invested, I don't know, $6 million after PayPal, and Elon Musk gave them 4 years to create a car. But then after 4 years, they were running out of money. They raised like 60 million, and where's the car? So Elon Musk was pressuring them, basically remove the guys. Then he took the thing. So you see, probably Tesla didn't start with Elon Musk thinking, "Oh, let me," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was probably like after PayPal, and he was in the trenches and finding the next investment opportunity for him and how to really make this money, the most of this money, that he could get that idea. And for us, it was the same thing. My partner was the one who had this idea, who had this big vision, and a lot of kudos to him. He was a video editor before. He was not a video editor because he wanted, but because he had to, like during COVID again. He found something that every time that he would edit following the same recipe, it would get millions of views. And then he had the brilliant idea like, okay, how can I take this formula and make it a business out of this? So that was the first insight he had. So he was not like on his room reading books, or of course this would help, of course, 100%. But he was not there, okay, let me think on this miracle idea. No, let me just get shits done, but let me reflect as I'm doing and see the moment for me to then transition to something cool. So when we started, we were not an AI tool. We were just like a marketing agency that tried to go viral. But we were really good at making people go viral on social media with this. And then after like 5,000 videos with more than 1 million views was the moment that AI came in, ChatGPT and everything. And then the opportunity came. But we were ready because AI is expensive, especially if you want to create your own AI. You need to have a lot of money. You need to have a lot of expertise. And my partner, he was a video editor before. I am from tech, but I don't want to be the tech guy. So even then, we had like, okay, what do we do now, right? And that was just like the number one thing that Spreed was able to grow. And I mean, we still have to grow much, much more, but we're just able to kind of like have now 3 offices around the world, one in Brazil, one in Dubai, one in the US, because my partner understood, I understood that we need more people to build this shit. So even though my partner was really good at video editing, he's the best one that could do in the back, like before. He's like, look, if I am editing videos, how my business is gonna grow? How we're gonna get clients? How I'm gonna think on the future of the company? Like I'm just gonna be editing videos 24/7, and then what? And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs they struggle because they really want themselves to do everything because it's gonna be perfect, right? But then they burn out because they're tired of like editing 24/7, 36/5 a year, and then they wonder why they don't have more fun and joy on that shit, right? So, kind of long story short, I think that's where it came from. It was not from anything like, oh, some miracle happened. No, we're just in the trenches, doing some cool shit, growing a team. And when the moment came in, we had the budget, we had the expertise, we had the people to actually do the thing, then just aligned. And then this AI platform that now it's, I mean, with all, like, I don't like to show off anything. I never do this, but I never seen like a platform where you can really, from every 10 videos, 4 go viral with more than 1 million views. It's a 40% rate that we have. 40. If you go to any like content creator, like these guys that are creating content like 1,000 videos, like Gary V, his percentage is lower than this. So that's the power of AI, but that's the power of a team and a young team that's like willing to take risks to.
So your partner, from my understanding, so your partner was kind of he was the visionary, right?
Yeah.
For it. Where did you come into the fold? How did you meet him? And I'm asking you that question because what if I'm now somebody that has this idea, but let's say I don't have all the expertise, or I want to co-founder someone to do it with me. How did he find you, and what advice can you now give to somebody else that's looking for someone to help them?
I think again, if you see a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend a lot of time just inside the room, just reading books, just watching podcasts, which is great and it's a must. If you want to be at like a high level, you need to do all of this shit. But to really, okay, now let's say you want to find someone, you want to find someone to co-found a business with or to join something, you need to go out there. And regardless where it is. And I'm saying this is a very Dubai perspective, because I think here in Dubai we're just so blessed to, like, you just go to a coffee shop and then you find a bunch of people like they also are minding their own shit. They're also trying to do some cool stuff. Like back home, it's not like this, right? You go to a coffee shop and then it's just like a bunch of, like, I don't know, kids or even like older people, but not with that mindset. So I think the thing is, like, just go to places or even online communities that you would find like-minded people. And as soon as you are proactively looking for something and talking with other people, you're kind of creating an ecosystem to make that thing happen, right? So for me and with Spreed, was not anything like very, very, like, okay, let's do. No, no, it was very natural. Why? Because I was doing my own shit here. He was doing his own shit there. I was with a web design agency here. And I remember I look at LinkedIn and then I see a picture of him, my other partner, and Cafu. Cafu is one of the biggest Brazilian soccer players of all history. He won 2 World Cups. And when I saw that picture, I just sent a message like, man, that's awesome. Like, you guys are destroying. Like, kudos for you guys and congratulations for this. Like, that's amazing. 1 month later, I was in Brazil. We had lunch, me and 2 other guys, my partners, and like, look, we are doing amazing here, but we want to go to the rest of the world. And
So you were here in Dubai. They were there in Brazil. You saw it on LinkedIn.
yeah,
You reached out, cold outreach.
so
You
so
you
they
didn't
so
know
they were
them.
my friend. That's the
Okay.
thing. Before that, they were
Yes.
my friends.
Okay. So they were your friends. So it was a warm outreach. And you're like, cool, you're doing some really, really cool things. Then you go back to Brazil and you thought, okay, well, while I'm there, let me now meet up with them and have the and further the
So
conversation.
they invited me.
Yeah.
As soon as I landed, they're like,
Okay.
okay, let's have some lunch. Let's discuss some cool things. Sorry. And then you see, it was very natural. I was not purposely trying to do anything. But why things kind of aligned? Because I was in a bandwidth and they were also in the same bandwidth, but in different places. And that's the whole key. If you want to become like the best entrepreneur, the best coach, the best whatever, you don't need to wait to have things to become that person. You need to be that person before you have anything, right? That's even like atomic habits, like the be, do, have, be. A lot of people are living on the have, do, be. I need to have things to then do other stuff to become the person that I want to be. So I need to have that car to do cool things to become the person that I'm looking. But no, you need to become that person to then have that car. So that's the whole magic. And that's why things align. Now, for someone who's really struggling, probably they're trying to have something even before they are something or they are someone that would connect with that kind of mindset and idea. So,
Yeah, and I think it comes down to the fact, a lot of the time that's also kind of like with luck, you people say, oh, you sort of got lucky, and luck has a huge role in it, right? The fact that you guys even knew each other, you saw that post, which meant you reached out, but you put yourself in a position where you could grab that luck, you could grab that opportunity. Now, if you weren't the kind of person that was inquisitive, that you weren't on your frequency doing your thing, you might have just scrolled past that LinkedIn post and not even commented, and none of this would have happened.
exactly. Exactly. Everything's very intentional, but that's a very hard thing too.
Yeah.
If you see like all of these big guys, they're always very intentional. Even with the clothes they wear, with the food they eat, the people that they hang out with, because they understand all of this really impacts on the overall success of anything. It's not easy, right? To be very intentional is something that like every day you need to be fighting with yourself. But then luck comes, right? When luck, like, you just kind of, okay, you are ready, the other person is ready. You're lucky enough to enter Instagram that time or to enter LinkedIn and find something. But that was like just the cherry on the cake. The other things were like already kind of lined, just waiting the opportunity to come. When it came, you kicked in, right?
How do you become intentional?
I think for someone to become intentional, they really need to know where they're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, like, you're just gonna live with the waves of your life, right? Um, that's something that I personally struggle a lot, to be honest, because a lot of times, like, I know where I'm trying to go with Spirit, with my relationship, with my friends and family, but every now and then, like, you just get too busy, right? And sometimes you don't prioritize what is the real thing. So to be very intentional, you just need to prioritize, I think. And for every person, it's going to be different. But for me personally, what I find very useful is to really, like, in the morning, as soon as you wake up, really have like 5 or 30 minutes, whatever time you have, just to be with yourself without any, like, phone. Sometimes even without books, without anything, just you and you, really like understanding. Okay, it's a new day. I'm trying to do this kind of stuff. These are my goals. This is where I'm trying to go. That's me. It's kind of like reminding yourself who you are, what you do, visualizing your day. That's something that I really do. Like, even for this podcast, I was like visualizing myself on this podcast, because then some things that I'm saying here is not the first time that I'm saying, right? Of course, I don't know the question you're gonna ask, but I know what are the good things that I can bring to the table to really add value to you, and that's how you're intentional. Really, like, kind of taking your time, prioritizing on the action that you're gonna do in a week, in a month, in a year, in 10 years, in 5 minutes, and then you can kind of have the bandwidth too. So that's how, like, I see a lot of people being intentional. That's how I try to be, but again, challenging. But when you're actually able to align that, saves a lot of time and energy. So
You mentioned about the fact that you every morning, sit down for 30 minutes, go through your calendar, write down, what needs to get done when, what would you say is an extremely vital morning routine for an entrepreneur?
I've tried like many different ones, but I think like a morning routine for anyone who just wants to be like 1% better, and I'm not saying like be the top one in the world, just like 1% better than you every single day. It's just like, don't use your phone first thing. I think that's it. You can say like, okay, do coach or blah 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 blah, and yes, that work for like for me. I like this kind of stuff. I like to wake up. I like to have like very good breakfast with good food. I always like to do, like, I'm a very religious person, so I always try to pray. I always try to also focus on this beginning of the day. So I really like start my day already, like, in connection with God, with things that I believe, and then kind of going over agenda for the day, for the next day, for the rest of the week, just to understand a little bit of what's going. Read some like 30 minutes to be on the bandwidth again. Start like putting good things in your mind, then kick off the day. But to be honest, again, like I'm saying this like an ideal world, right? That's not what happens to me majority of the days. Majority of the days I'm waking up like maybe just rushing to the gym. Some days I'm just rushing to the office because the previous night was a bit crazy. Like, I don't know, had meetings until very late or recordings until very late. So I think for everyone depends. But if you just had to summarize in one word, and what is the one thing that's gonna set your day for success, is literally not using your phone. At least the first hour, the first 5 minutes, the first 15 minutes. Don't use your phone, because the moment that you kicks in the phone, like, your day already starts. Like, okay, now I need to kind of live my stage of like 0 kilometers per hour, and your phone like is running at 200. So like, okay, I'm already late for this. I'm already late, I already have a meeting 2 p.m. I have lunch today with this guy, and you're just like bombarding yourself with things, and you just woke up. So if I had to summarize just one thing, just don't use your phone, and then it's gonna kind of. That's what I learned, and that's what helps me a lot.
And I think that's that, and why I completely agree with that is I did that. So I'm not doing it now, which I should be doing it, but I would say that I can't use my phone until 8 a.m. and then I
Yeah.
can't use it after 8 p.m. And one thing I can tell you that when I was doing this, my need to want to check my phone when I did that throughout the day was, I would say, well over 50% less, right? Because how you start your morning sets the intention for the rest of your day. Now, if you start on your phone, you're already starting getting those dopamine hits, right? Then what do you spend the whole day doing? Chasing those dopamine hits, right?
Exactly.
Social media is there and designed to hook you and to get you on it. And this is something which I struggle with the most, is especially when you need to starting posting a lot of content. You're constantly chasing the likes. As much as you want to sit here and be like, oh, I don't care, you do, because what you're posting, it, whether you get likes or a response from it determines how people feel about what you're posting, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you're trying to grow your personal brand or trying to get the reach, you can kind of like obsess a little bit over, the
Yeah.
fact that, okay, shit, this didn't get the likes that I thought. This didn't get the views that I thought, you know? And by starting that morning routine, I found with that is that it just set that intention for the rest of the day that I
Yeah.
wasn't focusing on that.
But you know what is interesting is like as you're saying, and like I think in business in general, right? Everything comes from learning and failing and really being intentional and understanding why it happened. Now it changed. Really, that was not a failure, but before when I started and we were like doing the first videos for Dubai, I remember, like I like the client would post the video, and then I would take my phone every 5 minutes. I would go and reload to see, okay, is it going viral already? Is it going viral yet? Or like, like every 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, and then like I look at my partner like, man, like when is it gonna go viral? Like, man, after like 1 year, you just get used to. After like I don't know 1 month, you just get used to. But in the beginning, I was like, pa, 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 because I was like, this needs to work, it needs to work. But now it's just a matter of time. I don't even check now anything, not even my videos. I just go post and then finish. I don't care because I know it's gonna work because we're using something that really work. But now, not in the first time, right? It's not working. No, it's something that we have been consistently doing. You have more confidence, and then you need to worry less with the thing. But this is for everything in life, right? Even with morning routine. If you have a morning routine that is not working, as soon as it starts working and then you can be consistent, you know that probably for the next month you're set as well. Next week, next day, you just need to repeat and then it will work for sure. So I'm saying this because I think that's a life of an entrepreneur, right? And you're trying to escape the normal life. You go for a lot of failures, but as soon as you're able to crack those failures, then you become like more consistent and you get more confidence and you get like on that vibe to then go and execute everything. So
Now, after you had been to Brazil, right? You guys had obviously all agreed to work together,
yeah.
right? What was the next stage that you guys took to build Spreed? And the reason that I ask you this is because I want to give advice. I want you to give advice to entrepreneurs out there that now, cool, have got this idea, have got this team or these partners, but now they don't know what to do next. What do you do next?
That's something that it's really easy to get stuck with, not knowing the next action, let's say. um I think there are two kind of avenues to this, because when you look at something and you know what you should be doing and you don't do, then it's not that, oh, what should I do? No, you already know. You're just procrastinating for some reason. Maybe you are scared, maybe the plan is not that good, or maybe whatever reason. But that's one avenue that some people they fall for this trap, right? They know what they need to do, but they don't. In this case, like, just, like, just get some, like, just go and do shit, but I don't know, there's not a lot of like trick to that. But um on the other side, when you actually don't know anything, or when you're like lost, like on this stage, I think what I personally see that works really well is just talking with people that have done that thing. Because you can watch videos, you can read books. This would be an answer as well. Amazing. But if you really want, like, you are on that place that everything's kind of ready, but you don't know what to do next. If you're not able to brainstorm, if you're not able to see how you're going to create that bridge to your future, if you just talk to someone that probably has done something similar, that person, without any bias, because they are outside of the business, they are outside of that idea, they'll be able to say, oh, no, no, just go to that path. It might not be the best one, but at least to get you moving. And then you kind of were able to navigate that stage where, like, what do I do now, right? um which comes very often, to be honest. Like, even like with me sometimes, like, I'm like, I know where I'm going, I know where I'm trying to head, I know the things that I need to do, but sometimes it's like, oh, what should I do now? So I always try to talk to people who have been in this place, or who are also on this journey, like, man, that's happening, like, what should I do? Or have this ever happened to you? Because when you talk with people that are on the same journey that you can, like, you're buying back your time. You're literally not spending 2 hours watching YouTube video, but talking with someone for 5 minutes. You just gain like almost 2 hours of your life back, if you think, because you're talking to someone who have the thing. Now, of course, that's in optimal scenarios, right? A lot of cases, it's not going to work, and probably going to need to talk with people for 2 hours as well to get the same result. But maybe you talk with 10 people. Now 10 more people know about what you're doing. Maybe they can get the benefit out of it. Maybe you can do some cool shit together. But like just talk to people. So
Now, how do I get in front of these people, right? So if I want to speak with somebody that's in the position that I want to be, that started the business that I want to start, chances are they're already quite successful, they're super busy.
yeah.
How do I now get in front of that person?
You know what's funny? At least for me, in my like, I mean, especially here in Dubai, I think business people, even though they're very, 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 very successful, sometimes they are the most approachable people. I'm not talking about like government of no, I'm talking about business people because they know where they came from. So like they, when you go and ask something, they already had that question like 10 years ago, and the reason for someone to not help you just answering, it's like why would someone do that? Only if they're like, I don't know, an asshole or something. Like, you know, if they really want to uh be negative towards you, but otherwise they would help. And like here in Dubai, that's what I noticed. And how to get in front of those people, I mean, there are different channels, but the basic one, even social media, send a message, really. And sometimes this works. Maybe to not work with the big guys, but find a community, start online, try to really find places where these people they hang out, and then go to those places. And if you see what I was saying before about hanging out with people that will set the energy for you, that's also something that it should be there, even not before you started, but as you are doing cool things, right? So that whenever some situation comes, whatever situation is, you already have a group of people that maybe are not, maybe they haven't even done that yet, but they're also in the same vibe, building cool stuff. So they know that if I help you, probably you're gonna help me later on, or without even any kind of like return, I'm just adding value to this ecosystem. So I think like to find these people, just go to the place that they hang out, and this could be online, in person, course, books, but talking to people and like finding these places where they are is like kind of the to go, I would say. So
And you're so correct in saying that, generally speaking, even your successful entrepreneurs and CEOs, they were once in your position, right?
yeah,
And I feel like there is this, not with everyone, but there is this kind of like, we wouldn't call it like a rule, but like, there's a certain kind of like etiquette where you if you like what somebody's doing and you're seeing that they're doing cool things, you're almost obliged to want to kind of help them, right? It's almost like entrepreneurship etiquette, right? To
yeah,
help the next generation come through, right? And why this works, so when I set up my real estate company, okay, I needed advice. I'd only 6 months real estate experience. I was going to set up a company in the most saturated real estate market in the world. What did I do? I literally went on LinkedIn, got the numbers of 5 of the top CEOs of real estate brokerages, dropped a message and said, listen, pick up their ego a little bit. Everyone loves their ego stroked a little bit. I love what you're doing, been following your content. By the way, I'm setting up a real estate company, in this market. I would really, really love to get your opinion on something. Can we meet for coffee for 10 minutes to run you through? And every single one of them said yes, right?
see,
Every single one of them were more than happy to meet with me.
yeah,
Now,
it's
a lot of
beautiful.
the time you would think, oh, like, who's going to ask, who's going to say yes to that? Why would they say yes to that? But if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, 100%. And like having this ability to ask is also really, really important, right? In a way that you're not like just draining energy, but like trying to also help somehow, and like just, I'm available, like thank you for helping me, and then I don't know, how can I help you, whatever. And again, it's the ecosystem, right? Because now probably if someone asks you, you're gonna probably gonna do the same. Maybe you didn't like retribute to that person at that time, you didn't like give it back at that time, but now to someone else that is also coming along the way, probably gonna also be very open to that, right?
And I think this is where personal branding comes in, right? Because if you've got a personal brand where somebody can see who you are, what you stand for as a person, and what you're doing,
Yeah,
chances are if you reach out to somebody and they can see that, they're going to be a lot more likely to help you than
100%.
if you're just this ghost behind the screen.
100%. And that's the magic of personal branding, right? You don't need to ask people to come. Like, you don't need to go do anything. You are attracting people that are like-minded to you. And for any given reason, oh, I need a new employee. That's the best place to find someone. Because if you just have, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000, whatever, 5,000 people who are really on that mindset. Oh, I need new clients. Well, probably over there as well, because you are talking about things that resonate with that audience. You're probably solving problems that resonate with that audience. And it's crazy because, like, right now, personal branding is on its peak because of, like, cell phones. You don't need to own those media channels, TV, pay expensive, journals to be featured on. No, you just have your channel now, and then you can really take your word to the rest of the world, right? And, like, when you're gonna reach out to those guys, if you already, like, overcome the fear of just being on social media and post, like, every single day, you already advantage over, I don't know, 70s, 80, 95% of the rest. Other people is just like ghosts. Oh, can you do this for me? Then someone on the other side without even any picture, like, like, who am I helping? Like, someone without any followers.
How important do you think personal branding is as we move deeper and deeper into a digital world?
I think, like, personal branding now, and especially in this more digitalized world, is literally everything. Can you succeed without a personal brand? To be honest, I am, like, going to argue that probably not. You cannot. Because a personal brand can be formed even outside of social media, but social media is a place where you can really propagate that in a very large way and very fast. And the thing with personal branding is that you are buying your time back. Because probably a lot of people have done business before without putting their face out there, right? Yeah, a lot of people have done that. But depending the type of business, if you're not being seen by the entire world, it's just gonna take so much extra time to convince people to do things, to find people to do things with you. So, like, literally, the whole power of personal branding, yes, is to attract people. Yes, is to all of this, all of the above, but mainly to buy back your time. Literally, because you have in one spot a channel that you own that channel, and regardless of anything, you own that channel. You are able to position yourself to do anything, to talk to people that you want. You just look at, like, these very big examples. I don't know, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, all of those guys. Yes, personally, I would not agree with a lot of things, like, personal, like, family wise and values wise, blah blah blah. But no one can question that they're, like, amazing businessmen, right? Now, you see, it's like Tesla. They don't have any ads. They don't have any marketing strategy. It's literally like, okay, guys, I have this event. Like, they take the Cybertruck, they bring things, they start, like, throwing balls and hitting with the bat, and then you get sold out because of the personal brand of Elon Musk, because he was able to create the narrative and to be himself on that channel that allows people to connect with him and to buy anything he wants. So, like, he can even create the stupidest products. I don't know, tequila, Tesla, tequila, I don't know, whatever. And, like, people would still buy because it's not about the product in the end of the day. It's really about the whole community that guy is creating and that people want to be similar to him, right? And they have the ability to. You just got to pay, like, $100 per month, and then you get, you know,
People buy from people, right?
companies are people in the end of the day.
And that's the biggest shift that's actually happened, is that companies previously it's just the company and there's no face behind it. But now you look at all the most successful companies. You look at even Mark Zuckerberg. Before, with Facebook, he was in the background. Now you see him on Instagram. You see he's got this whole look going. All these top companies and brands, they know the only way that you're going to stay relevant, the only way you're going to properly attract and appeal to an audience, is by having your leadership team and the heads kind of having their personal brand at the front and center of the business.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I guess let's maybe break that down. What exactly is personal branding?
If you look at the two words individually, branding is literally creating an identity for something, right? And personal, it's your own. So it's basically taking your identity, things that you already are, and positioning in a very strategic way where you can resonate with more people. Now, a lot of people, they struggle because they think that they need to fake it until they make it, kind of. Oh, like a lot of people ask me, oh, when I'm creating content, should I like get the Lamborghini? Should I get those Rolex? Should I get this kind of stuff? I can just rent for one day and then I record a lot of content and post. And I'm like, look, is that you? Like, sure, if you have the car, if you have everything, no, I mean it's you, then it's fine. But if I'm just gonna rent it to try to become someone who are not the person, how you expect to connect with people like you?
It's like the atomic habits thing. Also, you're doing it the wrong way around.
Exactly, exactly. So personal branding is literally how you're labeling yourself to the rest of the world and how people are able to perceive that. And the very core foundation is what you're bringing to the table and your singularities. Now, why this guy with the Lamborghini and the Rolex would not win? Because this was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, when no one knew that that was fake. But now, I don't know if you know Daniel Dalen.
Mm-mm.
No? I will share with you. Daniel Dalen is a guy who mastered like personal branding. He's this 25, 6, I don't know, kid from the Netherlands who lived in the US, Dubai, Europe, but he settled in China. So he's a white dude living in China since he was 14. He speaks Chinese fluently and he works in the e-com niche, like e-commerce. So if you see, this story is unique. No one can be from the Netherlands, live in China, speak Chinese, work on e-com, at the same time have lived in all of these different countries. You can just imagine like what is the culture and what are the elements that he's bringing to the table. Now, a lot of people also don't live in China, but why a lot of people resonate with his personal brand? Because he positioned himself in a way that people can like, oh, he cares so much for that culture. He's respectful enough to be in a place for 12 years and learn the language. And he always shows that on the social media. So that's one of his values.
And now, if he was going to go and want to network or meet somebody that sees this and speaks that language, his success rate is going to be tenfold. Any opportunity is going to come and he's going to get it, as opposed to if he didn't have that, if no one knew who he was.
Exactly. Exactly. And you see what he did, he just positioned himself in a way that people can connect to him, with him. And he doesn't even make a lot of money from that. Like his main source is not this personal branding, but he's basically creating that community with all the aesthetics, the edit, the music, the clothing style. All of this plays a part of personal branding. But of course, these are the later stages. But if you see like what are the elements, he just like look at himself. Like who am I? Where's my life story? And how can I position this? And you see, he's a very successful guy, but he shows a lot of the fears that he had. So it's not about faking with the car. No, just be yourself. People are tired of like faking. Just be yourself. Just show your hustle. Just show like the failures that you have. Just show the rejection that you got. Just show the big no's that you took from the investors, from the clients. Just show like what actually your day looks like, because that's literally why people would connect with you. Just create content that resonates with that.
So now I want to start my personal brand.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
I mean, to start a personal brand is simple as taking a piece of paper and just writing like what you do, who you are, where you're trying to go, and who am I? I mean, who am I again? Because he is like more like an ICP, an ideal customer profile. But that customer profile is yourself. So as soon as you map those things, now you know the exact person that you're talking to. You know the exact thing that you can bring to the table. You know the pillars that you're going to be following to create our content. And remember that I was saying before, how to be intentional. It's literally going back and remembering everything that you're doing. And that's something that I personally like a lot. I like to have foundational documents that would bring me back in the moments that I'm not certain. And it's basically what you mentioned to me already, that you have like four main values, that you follow those 4 or 5 main values to take any decision, right? So if you take a personal brand, that's just the number one. And from there, you're not set for anything. You're set for failure, actually, because with this, now you know what is your foundation, what is your backbone. You're going to start failing a lot until you know how to record. You are familiar with the camera, you're fine with the microphone, you're fine with the lights. But every time that you fail and you're going to give up, no, no, wait. Let me go back to who I am, to this, to that, to this. So the first thing, just get something like this. Doesn't need to be on the structure. Some things are not even structurized and they still work. Just remember why you're doing that thing, and like after you have that thing done, just execute, reflect on the mistakes that you're doing, try to understand how people are perceiving you. Not that you should care a lot for that, but just if you are being able to communicate the message that you want, and then you're just starting. So
Why do you think people are reluctant to starting their own personal brand?
because a lot of people are afraid of their true selves, and they don't want other people to see already, to see the true self and who you are. They are afraid of showing themselves to the rest of the world because they didn't do like the homework to really take care of themselves. And I'm saying this in a way that not that it's easy for me. No, some things are personal. You don't want to share, of course. But the moment that you go on social media and you start posting, a lot of people have this idea that, okay, now everything that I'm doing, I need to post. You don't. But some people, they don't even know who they are and they want to show to the rest of the world. And that's fine as well, because again, you're on your learning journey where you're failing and then building back. But if you already know this, you're going to be reluctant because you're going to need to fake your life. You're going to need to run those things. You're going to need to say different things. That's not you. And that's going to become very draining. Very draining. And you cannot fake it for a long time. So I think like the number one reason for people not starting personal brand is the fear of themselves, or the fear of others about themselves and how they are viewing and seeing everything that they are posting, doing, and just putting to the rest of the world.
And I think it is that, you know, we care too much what other people think.
Yeah.
You know, we so scared of criticism. We want everyone to love us. We want everybody to agree with us, right?
Yeah.
And we are so worried that if we put out our thoughts and our beliefs, that we're going to get people that aren't going to agree. But what
Yeah.
we need to understand is that's life. You're never ever going to get to a point where everybody agrees with you, because I don't think it's a single thing in the world where, except the scientific fact, even scientific facts, you get conspiracy theorists that don't believe it. So, you know, you really need to try and remove the fact of that. Stop trying to care what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you stop caring what other people think, it's amazing how life just opens up for you, how
Yeah.
much happier you are. And that's something which I really think can help somebody that's scared about starting their personal brand,
Yeah.
is to be like,
Yeah.
why do you care what the opinion of somebody is that you're never going to speak to, that you don't actually even really like?
Maybe you have not even seen that person even a single time in your life.
You've never seen that person, or you've seen them once, and now you have this belief and this idea that whatever you post, they're judging you. Everyone's got their own shit, right? No one actually. You are not important. Right? And I say this in the nicest like sort of possible way, in the fact that everyone's got their own shit, right?
That's interesting because everyone that starts using the platform, I tell them, look, I'm sorry to maybe break your expectation, but to be really honest with you, like, no one cares that's you. And I say this in the most respectful way as well, because as long as I'm not the Pope here, I'm not president, if I'm just like someone below this category, no one gives a damn about who am I and what I'm doing. No. In the end of the day, like, even like personal branding, even though it's something that is very personal, you need to be very intentional to what you're going to be putting out there, because in the end of the day, social media is about the consumer, about the user, and people are just going to watch something that they can benefit from. So A lot of times I tell like people, look, y- I I think of no, no one cares to what you think. Just say what you want to do. Just say what you think. Don't need to say I think this. No, because it's the moment that you say I am doing this, this, and this, the audience on the other side is like, okay, here we go again. Someone else trying to convince me of something, to teach me something. To no, I just want to have my fun. I just want to enjoy my time scrolling, right? So it doesn't matter who you are recording the content. What just matters is, are you being able to add some value to the audience on the other side? Now, a lot of people, they fall on the streak of like, oh my god, trying to be perfect and everything. No, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, just think in a way that you're gonna help people. Always try to help people than to be helped, right?
And how different do you think building a personal brand is as opposed to building a business?
Mm, cool. Okay. I mean, I think when you're building a business, if you really want a business to succeed, you're not building for yourself. You really need to build for your team, for the people around you. And that's something that me and my partner we learn. Now we have like around 20, 25 people in the office. And the only way for this business to succeed is if everyone else succeed, is if everyone else are also on the same mission. And if the business operate even without me. And that's the goal for a business perspective. You're trying to build something that you should not be there. Because if you are there 100% of the time, it's gonna be like a prison, and you're gonna again just get burned out, and like you're gonna start doing a lot of things that you don't actually enjoy. So that's like building a business. It's like something that you need to, at least I believe, you need to build something that you can step out, and things are still gonna be running.
Otherwise, it's not a business, right? Because
Otherwise,
if
just
you move away, if you can't sell your business because you are the business, then it's not a business.
so what is the difference? The personal brand, it's you. You cannot replace yourself, right? Of course, you can build a system where you're not doing the boring things. Maybe you're just coming and shooting and then going home, and then the team's taking care of the rest. That's what I always recommend. And that's the best. Because again, you don't get burned out with editing, blah, blah, blah. But you see, even now, people are investing on personal brands because, yes, it's something different that you cannot step out, but there is so much value there, as like in a business. With personal brands, you can create so many other businesses from it. With personal brands, you can create communities that are going to buy from businesses, right? So I think that would be the difference. So yeah.
So Spreed is an AI platform, right?
Yeah.
How is AI changing the world?
Oh, interesting. I think AI is AI is changing the world in a way that everything becomes faster than it actually is. You are able to, I mean, the core thing of AI, it's not really about the things that it gives you, but from more like a tech perspective, it's more like what is happening in the back end, and just the millions of data points that the AI is looking at. Because technically, what the AI is doing is something that a human could do. Okay, I need to edit a video. I can sit on the chair for 20 hours, edit the same video in 20 different ways, and then guess which one is the best. I can do this. Okay. I have like, I don't know, 5 years of experience. I can do that. But you just wasted 20 hours. And probably you're going to have some fatigue. The 10th video is not as good as the first one. But with AI, in seconds, you can literally do the same thing. So I think AI is changing the world in a way that things are going to be more accurate, faster, and really to the point. And you can see in any different industry. But the tricky thing of AI is that the more general it is, the less accurate it would be. So if you just go to ChatGPT and you want ChatGPT to be your personal coach, like I don't know, a personal trainer coach, yeah, you're gonna get some good stuff there. But if you don't actually like send a lot of messages and like give context and like do everything that it needs to, if you don't spend some time there, you're probably just gonna get like generic, I don't know, diets, generic workout trainings that might not work for you. But from the moment that you have an AI that's really specialized in one thing, in creating the optimal diet for every single person in this earth, then you have something that is going to be very, very, very accurate and very, very good for the long term as well. So I think like AI is just like, again, buying back us time and really like analyzing things that it would take ages and possibly decades and hundreds of years to analyze things, but it's just doing so instant. And as time passes, like it's just getting better, better and better, more specific, more specific, more specific, and just like applying to different areas of our life. So,
So how can AI now help a startup entrepreneur on their journey?
wow. I always look at the AI in, again, saving my time. So, okay, I need to write an email. And that's a very basic thing, but it's part of a day to day. I can write the email. I just go there, I write mine, okay, now make this better. Then I come back and do it automatically. For an entrepreneur that probably have a lot of emails and you don't have maybe the money to invest on a assistant or something that would be your PA or something, just use AI on the basic tasks, on things that your energy are not worth actually. That's what I mean, of course you can use for many different things, but if you're just like looking at your agenda, for example, right now, what can you do with AI? Just look at your calendar. What are the things that are wasting a lot of time that are not bringing back the money or that are not having a positive ROI that I can give to AI?
What are some examples that you use, how you use AI for your business on a daily basis, which potentially somebody else might be able to use?
I mean, I think for me personally, I use a lot of AI with these basic tasks. So any kind of like, oh, sometimes I need to review a large document. Okay, just read for me, give me the bullet points. I need to do this, this, and this. What arguments would help me to do that? Um, I think for me at this point, what I'm really trying to do is just look at my calendar, look at the tasks that are very repetitive, like checking emails, creating maybe some specific offers to that thing, helping each department in the company to do things. Just go to ChatGPT, just go to AI and really try to use your time there in a way that's going to be more beneficial. So that's what I do personally. I just look at the problems that I have, just look at where I'm spending majority of my time, and then I use AI to save my time, to buy my time back, because then without any fatigue, without anything, AI would give me some points. Maybe are not the best ones, and I need to be able to analyze that, and then I plug in back. Next day, same thing, right? So it's always like a loop. Okay, today the task that I'm spending my time the most, maybe I had to do emails for 2 hours. Now, how can I create an AI agent that would every day just read my emails, just send me the most important ones that are not spam, for example? Like, how many hours per day do we spend just like, unsubscribing from different emails or just like deleting those like nonsense ones? Imagine if you have like an AI just to remove those things. Wouldn't we save like maybe 30 minutes of your day every day? Maybe, right? So that's how I say that entrepreneurs could use, even on the smallest tasks or on the bigger ones. But the smaller that you don't have a lot of stakes at risk, like just use it.
I guess it also all comes down to how much of an understanding, I guess, that you have of it, right?
Yeah.
Because whether they say they reckon there's going to be the first billion dollar company which has potentially 4 people working in it, and it's because through AI they'll be able to now create bots which can now perform the marketing function, sales function, customer
Yeah.
service functions. But in order to do that, you have to have a deep understanding of it. Now,
Yeah.
how important do you think prompting is? And can you also explain kind of what, in very, very high level way, like what prompting is and how important that is in order to make AI effective?
Like to really use AI at its potential, you need to be very good at prompting. Literally,
What is prompting?
literally like what you're gonna ask the AI to give you and how you're gonna do it. So prompting is literally like just okay, when you open ChatGPT and you see the text bot, the text box there, what you're gonna write there is gonna be the prompt for the AI to give you things back. So the paragraph that you're writing is your prompt. Now, if you are able to have a good prompt, meaning, I don't know, I always like to use, I always like to give the context, give the role, and give the final thing that I need. So, for example, on this window, act as marketing specialist, and your main responsibility is to analyze these 10 viral videos and then tell me what are the patterns that you identified on the hook. Now, as a delivery, make sure to give me bullet points that will divide blah 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 blah, and make sure to be very concise, direct to the point, and just give me something that is going to work for me. So just like spending 5 extra minutes writing that prompt It's gonna save you hours on, oh, AI didn't give me what I wanted. You're so dumb. Sometimes I start fighting with the bot. I'm like, come on, man. I wrote you what I want. Like, what is this? And sometimes I just write this. I'm like, okay, like I'm done with this. I'm just write this and see what it's gonna say. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, blah blah. But you see, it's all to do with prompting. I just realized maybe I was not that good. So now I need to go back and maybe understand what I wrote here that's not very good, and how can I improve. And the number one way to become better at prompting, just ask ChatGPT. That's my original prompt. How can I improve this so that you can give me better results? They need to ask you a lot of questions back. Oh, you should mention this, and this. Now, for this specific prompt, what is the audience that you're trying to target? And then you're gonna need to write. What is the so just ask ChatGPT, and then you're gonna learn how to become like a better prompt engineer. There are even like roles like this now.
Yeah, it's one of the highest paid roles is these prompt engineers, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like for entrepreneurship, it's never been easier to start a business.
Never.
It's never been easier to start a business. I was listening to a podcast with Daniel Presley, and he said our parents lived in the generation where they got affordable housing, right? Where everyone could afford housing. We live in a generation now where everybody can start a business,
Yeah.
right? And that's all come down to, and it's only just been accelerated with AI, and it's only going to continue to accelerate. But the only way you're going to adopt it and be on top of it is you need to use it on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem is a lot of people, they think of as a very simple thing. They think of it just like a Google. Like, let's say you're jumping into ChatGPT, just like a Google, but they don't understand. If you spend that time, you're understanding the prompting, you do some courses on prompting, it's incredible what you can create.
Yeah. 100%. What was like the craziest thing that you created with ChatGPT?
So, bro, I literally had this wild idea where, so with escaping normal, where I'm essentially pivoting the brand, and why I'm having these conversations is to help startup entrepreneurs go from idea to launch,
Got it.
right? And it was to create GPT bots which fulfill each of those functions. So essentially, all somebody would need to do is, and it would have all the prompts that they need to write in. So essentially, all someone would need to do, it would say, okay, cool, here's your marketing GPT prompt, right? Your marketing GPT bot, right? Now, these are all the questions that you need to answer, right? This is how you need to prompt. And through prompting, you would get the exact marketing strategy that you need. You do that for finance, you do that for operations, and essentially just having your workforce of startup bots. Because for a startup entrepreneur, it's different. It doesn't have to be as complex as when you're now scaling a business, right? It's actually quite simple, but you need to have done it before. So I genuinely believe that if you just have these GPT bots, you don't need you don't need like a marketing strategist, right? You don't need someone in finance to do your P&L for you, because you can get all the answers from the system. So that was kind of like this thing, but you still have to have a certain level of like complexity and understanding to it, right? It spends a lot of time. So that's, you see, me as an entrepreneur, you get different types of entrepreneurs, right? So I'm a visionary, what you call a visionary entrepreneur, right? And where my skill set lies is I'm the ideas guy, but I'm brilliant at, and why networking is so important to me, I'm really good at finding the right people,
Nice.
getting them on the same team, and being the person to drive a vision, right? Now, you get different kinds of entrepreneurs. You'll get your entrepreneurs where you're more analytical entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You get many different kinds, and I can't quite remember exactly. I think there's like 4 or 5 different types, but I've identified myself as that visionary entrepreneur. So that's where I try and pivot myself, is to the fact where I don't need to know the granular details of everything, right? But I need to know a little about a lot,
Yeah.
right? Because my goal is now to have this idea, craft a vision for it, find different like-minded people with different skill sets, put them all on the same team. And there was this amazing interview that I watched, and this is actually just what completely like transformed my thinking. It was an interview with Richard Branson,
Okay.
and they asked him, they said, Richard, you've built billion-dollar company after billion-dollar company. How have you managed to do it? And he said, listen, it's simple. As a founder and a CEO, you only need to do these, you only need these three things, right? Number one, you need to be able to craft the vision, make it crystal clear. Number two, you need to find the best goddamn people to go and execute on the vision. Go and find the people that are excited by the vision. Then you need to give them the best resources and get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? And that's completely changed my thought process as an entrepreneur. And you look at someone like a Richard Branson. He's a visionary entrepreneur. He's dyslexic. You know, his technical knowledge and everything is not there, but his skill sets and his power comes from being able to get people to want to work with him, to believe in him, sell them on the idea, and then drive it forward.
Yeah. And you know, I think that's just a big realization that every entrepreneur they would have at some point, hopefully sooner than later. Um, you're not creating like your business is not gonna become like that huge. Okay, we have like ChatGPT and OpenAI and yes, but statistically say majority of the business they are not gonna become that successful and huge if you were there 24/7. Now, as you said, there are different types of entrepreneurs, right? Different types. Of course, you're always gonna have someone maybe that's gonna be there every single day, but maybe that person like at that level, maybe they're not the owner of the business, they're not the founder. They can be like a very good manager that became a partner of the business, right? But he understands that his main idea, his main task is to ensure that, for example, the service is delivered, the product is delivered, right? But then for you to be leading with the vision, you need to like on a Thursday afternoon to be on the beach reading a book, talking with someone in a crandom like and then people look at this like oh the his life must be good like Thursday afternoon like he's on the gym I don't know 3 p.m. he's on the gym or drinking a coconut whatever but no you need to be and that's something that like I force myself to sometimes I'm just in the office too much and it's fascinating because every time that I live in an intentional way every time that I go out to a specific event I'm like okay let me wait for this crack moment here and then I can go home or I can go back to the office. So I arrived there, and this happened one day. I was 7 p.m. I finished here, and then there was a networking event 8, and I was like, oh, one more networking event, man. I don't want to go to this place. I don't want to go. But then I told myself, no. On Sunday, I said that I would go, so I would go. I will go. Okay. I arrived there 8 p.m. Then I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, you know, like I'm looking for that thing that's gonna help me. And it was interesting because I was there for like like the event, like maybe 3 hours total. I was just there for like 1 hour and a half. And the moment that I introduced myself, I just introduced myself. You stood up, you said, introduce yourself. And then as soon as I finished and I sat down, I was like, okay, now I understood why I came here. That was a shit introduction that I did. It was the worst that I could have ever done. And I've been using the same introduction for 1 year now. I'm like, amazing. Okay, now I can go back home. Because I put myself on that different place to do different things, not just on the laptop, and allowed me to like, okay, that's the thing that I need to change now. So then I went back home, just took a notebook, okay, started watching some examples, seeing okay, maybe how can I change a little bit? What is wrong with this? You see, but the fact that I went out, maybe I sacrificed on some tasks on the business, but I went out to talk with people, to introduce myself, I realized something. And then now I can introduce myself a little bit better, at least better than was before. And maybe this is gonna be like the whole unique, like I don't know, $1 million deal that's dividing you, you know, so just being out and doing things and not doing the normal 1, 2, 3 tasks and creating that vision, implementing. So
And that's the thing. I think people think, when they say don't work in your business, work on your business, right?
yeah,
And that's exactly it. Is going to a networking event is working, right? A lot of people, you think you got to be in the office, you got to be actually working in your business, doing the thing, but it's not. Because why I say that is because I met you at a networking event. I met you at Coconut Club, right? If I had not gone to Coconut Club, I wouldn't be sitting here,
Yeah.
right? And I wouldn't be probably on the season 2 of my podcast yet. I wouldn't be have someone helping me with my personal brand, so I probably wouldn't be growing my personal brand, right? So that just shows that there's other things that are important, and why in the business you need to have that kind of like who not how mentality, which is, you know, who can do the job better than you,
Yeah.
right? And get them on your team, not how can you do the job.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, it stops you from going after that forward vision, stops you from moving into new opportunities. That you can go into.
100%. 100%. A lot of people, they don't spend time on this. They just think that the harder that they work, they're going to be able to succeed more. And yes, of course, you have to put, I don't know, some days 12, 14 hours, 10 hours, whatever hours. But maybe it's that one moment that you go out, do some different thing. And that's why it's important, like, especially for entrepreneurs who are starting, a lot of them, they don't know where they're going. And they try to figure this out even before they start. But you don't need to. Like, you don't need to know A, B, C, and D. And that's something like, as I was saying, like, I always, like, I have my very strong faith, and that's something that I personally believe a lot. If God gave you the vision, it will give you the provision, which is basically like how you're going to be able to achieve that place. And there's a very interesting story that I saw where one of my friends was doing a marathon, and then he arrived in the marathon without any shoes. Like, he forgot his shoes. And then I was like, man, like, you're going for a marathon. Like, how can you forget this? But anyway, he couldn't go back. He's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? No, no, I'm gonna uh, go without my shoes. And I was like, okay, ju- like, I don't. I was like, how this guy's gonna be able to do? It was a half marathon, like 21 kilometers without any shoes. Like, this guy's crazy. And he started. The moment he started running without any, like, barefoot, a guy on the audience saw that, and he had an extra pair of shoes. Like, no, no, take, 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 take. So he just started moving, but he had that vision that he would be able to finish. He didn't know how,
Yeah.
but along the way, and I believe like God would create this. Um, Someone came in. No, no, no. Use the shoes, then you give back to me, whatever. Just take it and go. And then he was able to finish. But if he was just there in the car, like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. No, he was training for like 6 months. No, no, I'm not gonna do it. Guys, I'm so sorry. Blah blah blah. No, no. He's like, I'm gonna do this, whatever. And then things actually happened because he was in action. He was moving. He was trying to make the thing work, and then people came and helped him somehow.
And that's it. Just start.
Yeah,
Just start and just keep going. And the hope, generally, it does always work out. Maybe not the way that you always wanted it to, right? But that doesn't mean that it hasn't worked out.
exactly, exactly right.
you know. So I guess there's one more question that I have for you, right? And it's a question which I ask all of my guests, which come into the podcast. What does escaping normal mean to you?
You know, if you look at like what is normal for you, right? Like, escaping normal. When you look at like what is normal for you, that's something that it changes every single day, every single week. For me, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago was normal to just be in a class, listening to someone for hours, and going back home and studying very hard. That was normal. And then I escaped that. But then when I was applying for university, that became my normal. And then I escaped that. Now, building a business, this becomes your normal. And you don't need to escape, but you need to, because you're always trying to do better things, become a better person, meet better people. So I think escaping normal for me is just like the act of trying to become and be that person before you even are. Before you even have those things, you become that person. So it's on the process of becoming, and you're gonna be learning, changing, always like iterate in the iteration process, right? What's normal for you today might not be the normal for you next year, and should not, because if it's the normal, then you're just wasting a lot of your time and energy, and probably not doing the right thing. So if I had to put in one sentence, I think like escaping normal for me is just like really trying to be better and different than what I was 1 month ago, or yesterday, or 1 year ago, and really understanding what became normal to me that might not be for everyone, or might not, or might was not for me before, but now I'm very grateful for. And then I can even give this to other people or to the community or whatever. So I think that would be like escaping normal for me.
Awesome, Gabriel. Thanks so much for your time, buddy.
Thank you very much, man.
Super excited to see where Speed goes, and I'm on the beginning of the journey with you guys. So for everyone watching, follow the journey. You'll see firsthand exactly the power of this platform and what it can do. So very, very keen to have you on the podcast. Maybe again towards the end of it in a couple months' time, actually, where we can dive into maybe a little bit more about actually the Spreed platform and kind of like what it has done for me. Once we've got the results, we can show you, then we can dissect it and we can discuss it. So
Cool, man.
thank you so much for coming on here. And I'll chat to you soon, buddy.
Thank you very much, man.